I'm Plami. In this episode of Plami's Thoughts On, I'm gonna be sharing my thoughts on the mid-season finale of the 6th season of one of my favorite shows ever, Fear the Walking Dead. And yeah, this was a hell of an episode, honestly. I've been excited to see more of this season of Fear the Walking Dead. And by the way, if you haven't seen my reviews of the first 7 episodes, definitely do check them out. I just cannot express how much I love this season, how much better it is. It's honestly the best Walking Dead season ever, as in the whole franchise. Just like how season 3 was one of the best seasons, this season is just as good, but for very different reasons. And I might talk about that later in the video, or at most I might talk about it once the season is over and I review the whole season as a whole. But the best way how I can describe it is that season 3 of Fear the Walking Dead was really good because it tackled a very different story that you could easily have done outside of the zombie apocalypse. Like, it doesn't need the zombies to be a good story. It had great characters and great, morally gray writing, and that's why it's so good. While season 6 of Fear the Walking Dead is good because the dialogue is fucking amazing. Like, it's so self-aware. Like, you can, if you see if you go and watch my reviews, I'm pretty sure I've pointed out every single moment in which there's very self-aware writing, which is actually my favorite thing about this season. All the self-aware writing, like when they reference things in from previous seasons or from the main show, or when they call out stuff that fans have been calling out for years. Like, for example, how every villain in the zombie apocalypse seems to be some kind of a philosopher. This is lampshaded in episode 3 with Dwight and Al. And similarly, in this episode we have quite a few moments like that. Like, for example, Morgan at one point talks with John and tells him that he's trying to build a community in a future where hopefully all life might actually be precious. So he acknowledges that in the current situation, in the current world, life isn't precious as much as he wants it to be. So it's better to do violence to build that world. You know, he understands. He's not just, no, I'm not killing, I'm never killing a person, even if they're gonna try to kill me. I love that. I love that. And in general, the dialogue is so fucking compelling for me. Like, I've seen some people criticize this episode for the first half not being that interesting because the first half of the episode is mostly talking. But for me, that's kind of the strength. I'm not really watching it for the violence or the action or the gore, although I always appreciate those things and they tend to amplify how much I like an episode. But they're not the main thing I'm here for. The main thing I'm here for is for the characters and their dialogue. And we have so many good freaking moments in this episode. Like, I think I should probably start reviewing the episode from the beginning, because it's just like, even the first moment of the episode is so fucking good. Like, in the opening of the episode, we have John Dory apparently wanting to kill himself, I guess because of what happened in the, not the previous episode, but the one after that, before that, which was episode 6, in which we had June deciding that she doesn't want to run away with him. So I guess that kind of heartbroke him. Like, I'm not exactly sure what causes him to be in this mental state where he is so far gone that he wants to kill himself. But I feel like it mostly works because he even says in those earlier episodes of the season, when he's in Lawton, aka Virginia's community, that he doesn't feel like he's gonna last that long in it because he's just a very good guy and Virginia is not a good person. So he feels he won't last in a community with bad people. And then we also had Janice, was that her name, die, and due to him being unable to save her, or at least that's what he feels like happened. So I guess it's kind of there, the reason why he wants to kill himself. But I feel like maybe they could have explained it a little bit more. But I'm honestly fine with the way it is. Nothing bothered me when I watched it. I wasn't like, wait, why the hell does he want to kill himself? And especially it was like really impactful to see this character who has been always the good guy and the hopeful character be in this situation where he doesn't want to live anymore. Because he's been the best part out of the last 3 seasons, honestly, or at least season 4 and 5, because season 6 has been fucking amazing. But he's been the heart of the group, and to see the heart of the group be so far down, it just like hits you in a different way. And it's so cool and interesting, even from a writing perspective, how every time he goes to shoot himself, like he puts the gun under his chin, there's a walker that shows up in front of his cabin, and he has to shoot it. Why? I don't know. Maybe because he doesn't want the walker to eat his body. I don't know. But he shoots it. And it's really cool. It's a really cool opening for the episode. Then we, after he gets frustrated not being able to kill himself, we get the title card, which is a clear reference to Rick from the main show when he blew up the bridge. I mean, John Dory is even standing in the exact same position, so it's 100% a reference to that. So it's a cool reference in my eyes. And then we have John Dory going to a shop or a bar or whatever it is and seeing a bunch of walkers in front of it, so he just starts shooting from the hip like the freaking cowboy that he is. That was pretty badass. And then he finds Dakota and Morgan inside. Why the hell are they inside? Why is Dakota not with Alicia and Charlie? I'm a little confused about, because I am watching these episodes without subtitles, because I want to train myself to be able to watch without needing subtitles. I'm only watching with subtitles whenever I'm rewatching the shows. So maybe it was mentioned, I must have missed it, but for some reason they're there together. And I really like the moment there between Morgan and John, where, I mean, just the dialogue is so compelling. Like, I don't know how to describe it, because I can't really describe every single word that they say to each other, but like, it's so compelling. Like, I'm always entertained by how fun the dialogue is. Like, I don't know what happened behind the scenes with this show, but there's no way the same writers are writing this season. There's just no fucking way. It's either that or they really fucking took the criticisms and worked their ass off to write this good. But like, this dialogue is nothing, and I say nothing like the last 2 seasons. I mean, I don't know how to describe it. Like, at least with like the main show, the jumping quality between season 8 and season 9 was explained by Angela Kang becoming a showrunner. In this case, it's still the 2 dumb fucks, and yet it's so much better. And like, the dialogue is the best it's ever been. It's even better than the first 3 seasons. But damn, like, I love all the damn dialogue. It genuinely feels like what a real person would say, or maybe not necessarily what a real person would say, but a really good writer would write. I think that's a better way to put it, because I feel like the dialogues ends up saying exactly what I want it to say, exactly what I think it's going to say, you know? I don't know really how to describe it. It's just such a good the dialogue is so damn good. So they talk with each other, and John explains that he's like a ghost, because that Morgan is like a ghost because he thought that Morgan was dead. They all did. So it was a really nice conversation between the two, but then one of the cowboys, Virginia's cowboys, shows up, so they have to hide, even though he clearly could have seen them because of where John and Dakota were hiding. He easily could have seen over the counter, because they weren't really, there was no way they were hidden when he was looking at that. Maybe he wasn't paying attention, but there's no way he did not see them there. And then we have a moment there where John has the chance to shoot the cowboy, but he chooses not to. Don't understand why exactly. I mean, I know that Morgan was preaching all life is precious bullshit for the last 2 seasons, but I was never under the impression that John Dory was not a murderer. I don't know. I mean, that is a problem because I didn't really watch the last 2 seasons. They were kind of garbage. Back in when season 4 started airing, I was in the headspace where I wasn't really giving a shit neither for the main show or for Fear the Walking Dead because they were both bad at the same time, because it's around that time where both Carl and Nick died. So I didn't really watch the show. I tried to watch it during season 5. It was garbage, so I didn't really keep up. So I haven't really seen these characters and know every single little detail about him. So maybe John has pointed out many times that he's not a murderer. I just don't know that. So yeah, afterwards, John takes Dakota and Morgan to his cabin. They talk even more, and that scene where Morgan says that all life might actually be precious happens. And again, like, the dialogue in all these scenes is so fucking good. Like, I don't know how to describe it, but it's like it's aware of all the tropes that it uses, and I don't know. I don't know. I'm so in love with the dialogue this season. Like, that's 100% the reason why I love this season. Like, there's so many good things, like the characters actually acting like themselves, and just good storytelling and everything. But the dialogue is definitely the thing that makes it for me, because it's so fun, it's so self-aware, it's so compelling. Like, I don't know how else to describe it. Hopefully you understand what I mean if you've watched the episodes, but it's so fucking good. So yeah, Morgan tries to recruit John back to his community that he's building at the dam, because he's gonna need help defeating Virginia, but John doesn't want to do that. He just wants to die, apparently. But then, just as Morgan and Dakota are supposed to leave, I think, another cowboy shows up and shoots at them and tries to kill them, and stupidly throws lasso at Morgan, and Morgan tries to take him down, and he obviously failed, so that was a very dumb idea, I guess. And then John is forced to shoot that cowboy. So yeah, there's a little bit of a few pointless scenes. I feel like the episode was trying to build up a certain relationship between Dakota and John, but I feel like in general this episode maybe had one too many conversations, because even though due to the nature of the episode where Morgan was trying to persuade John from killing himself, so it makes sense that he will try again and again and again, trying pretty much saying the same thing. It was a little frustrating as a viewer to hear the same conversation almost scene after scene after scene. Like, it didn't really bother me too much, but there was a moment where I was like, okay, we're doing the same shit again and again and again. Maybe we could do something else. Because the episode was structured in a way where, like, the first like half an hour of the episode, because it was like 50 something minutes, it was longer than Here's Negan, which just fucking confuses me. Why does Fear get longer episodes than The Walking Dead? Like, especially Here's Negan. Here's Negan should have been an hour special kind of episode, because it did feel a little rushed. And there are a few things that I missed when talking about that episode that I wish I said, but I'm not gonna say it here because it doesn't really fit. Although I will mention this, that there was one moment in Here's Negan where there was a similar bit of self-aware dialogue that I feel like was referencing or lampshading bad writing or bad ideas that The Walking Dead has done. Like, if you remember, I think it was in like season 8, Morgan was like, all I see is red, or maybe it was even in Fear the Walking Dead. And at the end, close to the end of the episode, Negan talks about how whenever somebody is raging and they see all they see is red, that it's actually true and that he has had that happen to him. So I feel like that was kind of very similar to what Fear the Walking Dead is doing with its dialogue. It was a self-aware moment where they were acknowledging how dumb of an idea it is, or at least how trying to act as if they are in on the joke that the fandom has been doing with that, you know? So yeah, after all the talking and John deciding to help Morgan and Dakota at least cross a bridge that was full with walkers that they couldn't cross. And by the way, before that scene, there's a scene between Dakota and John where they talk about whether it matters that people kill in the zombie apocalypse and whether it matters that people die. And Dakota says that it doesn't. But then John says that it does, and Dakota asks him why, and he explains that it matters because otherwise, if it doesn't matter when you're dead, did it matter if you were alive? And that's a really cool line from him. I really like that. It obviously makes sense why he thinks that killing somebody should be something that isn't just taken lightly. It's something that you have to do in the zombie apocalypse, but it's not something that you have to like or should let yourself do all the time, you know? And also this reminds me of an earlier scene back where Morgan and John were talking about John coming with him, like when Morgan mentions that all life might actually be precious bit. He says that John should be the person to keep them from becoming the savages that they've all been before. That John was the thing that was keeping them from doing that, because as we know in this season, Morgan has supposedly dropped his all life is precious bullshit and is being more rational about his belief. And he knows he has to kill, but he still needs John to keep him from becoming too savage, you know? So yeah, then they go to the bridge and we actually have a pretty good action sequence. I enjoyed it, even though during the teasers for this episode, I feel like they were, I mean, they just used bad teasers at a bad time in my opinion, or specifically bad shots for the teasers, because in the 6 episodes of The Walking Dead 10C, we've barely seen any gore from the zombies. It's always been off-screen or in kind of blurry in the background kind of thing, and there's only like 2 or 3 moments where we actually see gore on walkers, and that's really been bothering me because I don't really understand why they're hiding the gore. Like, that's one of the fundamentals of this show. I could give a shit, like, you can take a character out of the episode if it means that you can actually show me the gore, if that is that big of a deal. Because, like, I don't understand how doing the gore is being prevented from due to COVID. Like, I don't understand how COVID prevents you from showing the gore. And that's one of the reasons why I feel like Here's Negan is not really as good of an episode as people are making it out to be, because we had a couple of moments where we saw a tiny little bit of gore, but we didn't see what it was important. Because I feel like in that moment where he killed the guy in the bar, Badger, I think is his name, or something like that, I don't know, we should have seen him bash his head. Because this episode, as much as it was an episode that was emotional and it was about redeeming Negan, it would have been cool to at the same time try to remind us why we hate him, because we would have seen Badger's bashed head and be reminded of Glenn. I think that would have been much better and much more morally grey as a conclusion for the episode. That yes, what Negan did was bad and it's still bad, but he also didn't used to be bad, and maybe he deserves redemption, and maybe he doesn't, I don't know. Like, it would have been a more interesting, morally grey conclusion, whereas now he's basically the good guy, kind of, or a good guy, I don't know. But yeah, I'm getting sidetracked. So, as I was saying, in season 10 C, they've been hiding the gore a lot, and in the teasers for this episode of Fear the Walking Dead, I feel like they were doing that as well, and it was annoying me because why would you hide the gore? Like, I can watch this show without the gore, but to not show it is infuriating, and it's obviously takes me out of the episode because they should be showing me that. It's a show about zombies. What is there else to do other than showing me gore, you know? But luckily, there was plenty of gore in the episode, so I was fully satisfied with that whole sequence and everything. It was a really tense and really fun sequence of zombie killing to watch, especially the bit in which Dakota pushes a couple of walkers off the bridge with the car. That was really cool. And then afterwards, I'm not exactly sure what the two characters of Dakota and John are doing. As I understand, they were looking for something on the ground, which was something like some part of the car or whatever. Oh, I almost forgot. Before we get into that big scene at the end, we gotta go a little bit back after, right before this, where they took out the walkers on the bridge, and John still is refusing to go with Morgan. But then Morgan uses the fact that what was her name? Virginia, is looking for him, and she wants to talk with him, and she wants her sister back. And he goes to her with a walkie-talkie and tells her to meet him at John's cabin. He does that as a way to prevent John from killing himself in his cabin, which John is angry about. But this leads to a really cool dialogue between them, where Morgan explains that the family that he has now, like all his friends, are basically his family, and that family was given to him by John, because Morgan left his other family. His whole reason for leaving the main show was that he wanted to run away so he didn't have to lose people and then lose himself. But then he met John, and John gave him this new family, and that Morgan is not gonna let his best friend die. And that really hit me. Like, I don't know, it was so cool to hear him refers to John as his best friend. I never realized how close of friends they would be, but like, it really hit me. I really like that moment there, which made the following scene even that much more heartbreaking. But as I said, Dakota and John are looking for some part of the car on the bridge, but Dakota gets attacked by a walker, and she pulls out a secret knife and stabs the walker with it. But then John notices that a certain piece of the knife is missing. The same piece that he found when he was investigating who killed that cowboy guy back in episode 4, I think it was. And yeah, it turns out Dakota killed him, which is something I think I said in that episode, or at least it was a conclusion that most people had already come to. It's the thing that made the most sense. Of course, Virginia would protect her sister and not try to investigate about who did it, because she knew that Janice wasn't the one who killed him. So then, I don't really remember exactly what they said, but John was angry that Dakota killed him because he cared about Janice, and that led to Janice's death. But Dakota explains that she killed him because she told Ginny about the fact that Dakota was escaping from Lawton all the time, and that because now she wouldn't be able to get out and run away and just get out of Lawton, which is the one thing that she has been loving to do, has been taken away from her, that she decided to kill him. Which honestly, on Dakota's side, I can kind of understand that, but considering her following actions, maybe her sister is a little bit more justified. But I'm still really curious to see where this story is going to go exactly, because it's very interesting, because it seems like both sisters are kind of deranged and bad people, you know? But then they start talking about how Dakota doesn't want John to tell anybody about what she did, and he says that he won't, and that he might actually have a reason to live now, because I feel like throughout this whole episode he's trying to be a father figure to her, or at least that's what they were setting up, especially with that earlier moment where he tells her that killing people should matter, because if you don't matter when you're dead, did you matter when you were alive? And I feel like with that scene they kind of set it up that he was probably going to be the moral compass for her if he decided not to kill himself. But then Dakota comes in and just kills him. I gotta say, like, Fear is fucking ruthless when it comes to deaths. I mean, they've done some stupid over-the-top deaths, but it also makes me think because of that it's not a death. Like, for example, Madison, because we never saw her die, and it's one of the few times where Fear's done a very I don't know how to say, sentimental kind of death, where they drag it out with like slow-mo and everything, because otherwise every single other time it has been a very quick and out of nowhere kind of death. Like, if you think about it, I mean, I guess they had a Chris from the earlier 3 seasons, his mom killed herself in a very big and important way, but then they had Chris die in a very shocking way. They had Ophelia die in a very shocking way out of nowhere. They had Troy die in a big way out of nowhere. They had Jeremiah die in a big way out of nowhere. They had Nick die with a shocking death out of nowhere. They had Travis die with a big death with a shocking death out of nowhere. And now they have fucking John Dory die with a shocking death out of nowhere. That's kind of the motto of Fear the Walking Dead. It's par for the course with them. So I love that it was so freaking brutal and shocking. It was so good. I like, my mouth literally dropped to the ground. I'm gonna put a picture if I haven't deleted it. And it's not really a good picture of me, but this was literally my face after I saw it, because I was shocked. I was shocked, and I haven't felt this kind of feeling in a while from The Walking Dead. I think the last time I was this shocked was probably either 9:15, which was the Pike scene, or 9:8, which was when Jesus died, because back in that episode, that dodge by the Walker, or the Whisperer, was so shocking and out of nowhere, and it was so damn good. I haven't had this experience in a while where after watching the episode for days I would be thinking about it and thinking about the moment and not being able to comprehend that yes, it happened. Like, it's so unbelievable. I love it. I love it when The Walking Dead does that, when it does shocking out of nowhere death. It makes me want to check out the comic book, because supposedly that's the big thing about the comic book, but I already know a lot of the deaths of that one, so it's not really going to be that shocking. But hey, I don't know. So yeah, I feel like they maybe dragged his death out a little bit too much in the following scene, because I wasn't sure for so long whether he was dead or not, but I guess the ending scene of the episode made up for it. Because after he gets shot, Dakota pushes him off a bridge, he falls into the river, and we look at him in the water, fucking sad that he's dead, and he even finds a picture of him and his dad, and that is so fucking sad. I can't wait to see people's reaction to this episode, and we're gonna get to some people's reactions to the episode and how I feel about it in a second, but it's a very sad scene. But then he ends up swimming out of the water and onto some plank of wood, and he flows downstream the river. Then Morgan shows up, finds out what happened, and by the way, Dakota's actress, Zoe Colletti, fucking A. She is one of the best actresses I've ever seen. What's with The Walking Dead and teenage teenage actresses being so freaking good. Like, Judith's actress is so damn good. Lydia's actress is so damn good. Charlie's actress, I haven't seen that much of her, but she's fine from the little that I've seen of her. And now Zoe Colletti, Dakota's actress, fucking killed it. Like, she kind of outperformed Lenny James in I don't remember the name of John Dory's actor, but she was amazing in that one scene with the facial expressions and everything. She was so good. And I actually have the suspicion that Morgan has killed her, although probably he hasn't, because I just remembered that there's one teaser in which she is in the little town that he has built in the near the dam, so she's probably not dead. But with the way they set up those scenes there where he has pointed his axe to her neck because of what she did, it makes me feel like he maybe killed her, but probably not. So then Morgan contacts Virginia, who has June with her, and they are waiting at the cabin for Morgan, and he tells her that John has been hurt and that he's flowing down the river, and that they should go and wait for him to flow down so they can save him, because it would take much longer for Morgan to go and find him. And then we have John Dory show up on the beach, on the riverbank, I guess you could call it. June sees him and runs toward him. But when she gets to him, it's already too late. He is a walker. And I gotta say, I fucking love this scene. It's so fucking good. Because, like, it sets you to think, like, oh my god, they're actually gonna save him, or at least he's gonna get the last word with June. But no, he's already dead. And some people might say that June's actress is bad, or just hate her for no reason, but I actually think in this specific scene her acting is really good, because her face is emotionless, like one would be in this situation where she's like, she's not sad, she's not happy, she's not angry, she's just lost. Like she just lost everything. She lost her world, she lost everything she cared for. And I feel like it's really shown on her face, the way she looks at him. She's like completely lost. She like she looks like she completely lost any will to live in that moment. And then she obviously stabs him and the episode ends. And something that people pointed out to me as a cool little nod that makes the episode even better is that this is basically how they met, because in one of the best episodes of season 4, it's the best episode of season 4, but one of the best episodes of Fear, I believe it was called Laura, and in that episode June and John meet by June washing up close to his cabin and him saving her. In this episode, John washes up to his cabin and June isn't able to save him. And some people, this brings me to people's opinions about this episode. Some people are saying that they're not gonna watch the show anymore and are acting triggered by this death. For the love of God, I don't understand why. Isn't this why we watch these shows? Like, am I wrong, or this is exactly why we watch these shows? To get attached to characters and them dying in brutal ways. And us feeling sad about it. Like, that's why I watch this, because I love loving characters and them being taken away from me and me feeling super sad and depressed about it. Like, that's the whole point of this. So I'm 100% okay with that. I can definitely understand some people's frustrations that they killed one of the most likable characters of this cast and not other ones which have been super hated by the fandom, like Charlie or June or Sarah or Wen or some other random character. But again, I'm gonna remind to those people, if you're watching this video, would you have cared if those characters died? No, most likely you would have not. And this episode completely relies on you loving this character and seeing them dying in a tragic way. In a tragic way. Like, that's the whole point. It's a tragic episode. Like, what do you watch The Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead for? For fun? For seeing the characters live happy lives? It's the zombie apocalypse. Of course they're gonna die in brutal and gruesome and tragic ways. If you were watching for anything other than for any other reason than this, you're watching the wrong show, honestly. If you're not watching this show to see your favorite characters die, you're watching the wrong show, and you probably should go and watch another show in which your characters don't die. Like, seriously, I understand the frustrations. I get the emotional response to your favorite character dying. I had this exact same feeling when Glenn died. I was angry, I was frustrated, I almost decided not to continue watching The Walking Dead, but I sat through and continued. Because as much as I love him, I didn't watch the show for him. And you should not watch a show just for one character. Especially a show like The Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead, where any character can die. Like, the one criticism that I can agree with about his death is that it's basically a rehash of Nick's death. A fan favorite character gets killed by a dumb teenage girl. And they even play the exact same music supposedly from Nick's death. I don't remember whether that's the case. I don't know whether that's the case because I didn't really watch that episode in which Nick died. I just watched his death on YouTube. But supposedly they did, and it's a good song, but again, that doesn't really help with the similarities. But I'd still say that this is a very different death, even though it is a rehash. It's very different because Nick was killed because the actor wanted out. In this case, I don't think the actor wanted out, it's just the writers decided to kill him because his death will move the characters of most people. Like, Morgan is hopefully gonna get development from this. June is definitely gonna get development from this. Alicia could potentially get development from this because she is indirectly the reason why he died, because she was the one who was wishing for Dakota to take Dakota with her back to Morgan's community. Charlie could potentially get development depending on who has to kill Dakota, if they decide to kill Dakota. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. But like, this is a big amount of characters that could potentially get development from this one character's death. Like, it's gonna be very interesting where they go with this. And considering how good these 8 episodes of the first half of this season have been, I have faith that they're gonna do really well with the development. I have hope that they're gonna do it right. But that's why I think that even if you're bothered about the fact that one of the most interesting characters was killed, where they could have developed it more and make him even more interesting over some less liked character, I'd still say wait and see where the story is going to go and how this is going to change all the characters before deciding that you hate this, you know? But yeah, personally, I freaking love this episode. It was great. A little lighter on the action, but for me, the dialogue is pretty much enough to keep me watching, so it didn't really bother me too much. Although, as I said, there was a moment where I feel like there was one too many conversation in this episode, but still, it was a great mid-season finale, and I'm glad that we can just jump into the next episode. I think on 14th, it's when it's going to be released, or 11th. On AMC Plus, because I really can't wait to see where this story is going to go. But yeah, I just hope that this doesn't cause drop in viewership, because the viewership is already pretty low for this show, and I feel like it's gonna set a bad precedent where when the showrunners don't take risks and do dumb and bad writing, like in season 4 and 5, the ratings mostly kept steady from the previous seasons, but this season where it's been so fucking good, and where the characters actually die in meaningful ways, in where a character, fan favorite character, dies in a really sad and meaningful way, and everybody stops watching due to that. What do you think that tells the writers? Why should we take risks? It's gonna drop the viewership, it's not gonna make money. Why should we do that? Apparently people cannot appreciate good character deaths. Like I don't know. I think it's a dick move to stop watching after your favorite character has died. But apparently this fandom, for some reason, is stupidly triggered by it. I don't understand it. I don't. And some people are trying to act as if this is bad writing when it's not. But okay. So yeah, I've been talking for quite a while, man. Like, I talk about Fear the Walking Dead so much more than for The Walking Dead. It's crazy, but this season has been fucking amazing, so yeah. In terms of its rating, the rating for this episode, I mean, I don't know. I don't remember what I gave all the other episodes before, so I'm not gonna really rate it in comparison to those. But I really enjoyed this episode, and I feel like it's somewhere between a 9 and a 10, so I think I'm gonna give it a 9.4 out of 10. I think it's a great episode. It's definitely one of the best Fear the Walking Dead episodes ever. So yeah, I'm really super excited for the rest of this season. So yeah, what did you guys think? Comment down below. I'll be really happy to hear your thoughts and discuss it with you. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like, subscribe. Also, check out the description to my Twitter if you want to follow me there, and to my Wattpad where I post my stories. Because in addition to doing all these videos on my channel, I'm also a writer. And if you haven't enjoyed my stories, or you simply enjoy my videos, you can head over to Patreon where you can pledge support and help get the channel going, help support me so I can keep writing the stories you enjoy. But if you don't want to do it, that's completely fine. You can still help me out in other ways, like liking this video, subscribing, and especially sharing this video with somebody who you think might enjoy it. And I think it's pretty much it for this video, so hopefully I'm gonna see you in the next one. Bye!